and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Dr. Nahar. We are from Group Display. From Section 5, we'll present our review papers about the scarcity, choices and opportunity cost in Islamic perspective. My name is Hidayah Binti Bakar, matrix number 2212066 will introduce what is our topic about. Scarcity, choices and opportunity costs are interrelated with each other. In this world, we need to make a decision and choose the best one, even though the opportunity cost will occur and we need to forgo the next best alternative. Next, I'm going to further explain about our review from the papers we have chose. First thing first, let's understand about the absolute scarcity. Absolute scarcity happens when our unlimited wants meet the limited resources. Even though there are technological advancements, resources are still not enough to fulfill human desire. Apart from that, the absolute scarcity also influenced by the significant increasing in human population, whereby the quantity of resources is less than the needs of resources. Thus, Islamic economics reject the absolute scarcity because it is clearly stated in Al-Quran that Allah has given abundant resources to all human beings. However, Islamic economics recognize the relative scarcity, which happen due to the human behavior in decision making and management of resources. If men making decisions based on the moral value and moderation, the relative scarcity will be reduced. Men also need to aware about other people's rights and make sure wealth distribution is not only circulated to the rich but also to the poor. That's all from me. Thank you. I'll pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Naziha Safiyah Binti Mohamd Forzi and my matric number is 2214638. I will proceed to the reality of resources. The first one is Allah is the creator of the resources. Allah has blessed human with many blessings in this world. He has power to create and enlarge it for human to fulfill their needs. One will be held accountable before Allah for the acquisition, possession and the distribution of the wealth and the resources. The next one is availability of resources. As stated in Surah Al-Qamar verse 49, verily all things we have created in this world in proportion and measure. This can be the proof that resources are always available. Availability is not the primary determination of scarce resources because resources are abundant but humans need to explore them. Resources are scarce not because of lack of quantity but because of limited knowledge, physical constraint and unlimited wants. And the last one is it depends on how humans deal with the resources. Humans need to be grateful for the bounties. We as humans need to use and distribute the resources properly so that there are no scarcity at the level of need. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
So now we move on to the consideration in making choices and decision. In Islam, the concept of consumer satisfaction is important, but it must be balanced and guided by moral values. Islam emphasizes the importance of fulfilling one's needs and desires in a permissible and ethical manner. For example, we look at halal and haram. Islam distinguishes between what is halal and what is haram. Muslims are encouraged to seek lawful means to fulfill their needs and desires while abstaining from anything forbidden by Islamic principles. This includes avoiding products or services that involve interest, gambling, alcohol, pork or any form of haram stuff. And now moving on to my second point. We look at it from 2 points. One is being the material aspect and the spiritual aspect, where we need to strike a balance. So as for the material aspect, Islam recognizes that humans have material needs and desires related to their physical well-being. These include necessities such as food, shelter, clothing and other material possessions. Islam encourages Muslims to seek lawful means to fulfill these needs and desires, ensuring that they do not become excessive or detrimental to oneself. So now, when we look at it from the spiritual aspect, Islam places great importance on the spiritual well-being of individuals. Muslims are encouraged to engage in acts of worship, cultivate a strong relationship with Allah, and strive for spiritual growth and purification. The spiritual aspect involves connecting with the divine through prayer, reading and reflecting the Quran, engaging in acts of charity, and even observing fasting. So it's really important to find a striking balance between the two in order to find eternal peace in this dunya and in the akhirah. And as for my last point, we look at it, the principle of moderation can be broken down into 2 parts. One being the Islamic view, where principle of moderation is emphasized in various aspects of life, including dealing with scarcity. Islam encourages believers to strike a balance between excessive indulgence and deprivation. For example, Islam encourages the practice of charity and helping those in need. Whereas in the scientific point of view, the principle of moderation in dealing with scarcity can be understood through the lens of resource management and sustainability. The face of limited resources, a moderate approach to consumption and resource allocation is very essential. It involves prioritizing needs over wants and making informed choices to ensure resources are utilized efficiently and equitably.
Thank you, Brother Azrai. So, my name is Hanani Safiyah Binti Solihuddin, and I will continue with wealth distribution. Islamic economic system is not equal to capitalism nor socialism. Islamic economics, on the other hand, applies the value of freedom and justice in income distribution. As we all know, God is an absolute owner of the resources, but man also has an ownership right to utilize and manage the wealth according to Allah's will, and as long as it does not conflict with Sharia. However, the justice mentioned here does not mean by the same and equal amount of salary and wages to all people, as Islam supports equitable distribution, not equal distribution. In addition, men must ensure that the prosperity is not only circulated among the rich, but expected to contribute for the society's welfare. Next, redistribution is needed since the income gap has become bigger in this era. For example, giving transfer payments to unemployed people. Moreover, zakat is also important to redistribute wealth from rich to the poor. Redistribution also can be done by fairness in inheritance when someone dies according to Sharia regulations. Not to forget, it is important to note about the prohibition of riba. This aims to prevent the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few individuals and institutions. In conclusion, we finally have a better understanding about the main concern here. We also divided the main points into 5, which are absolute scarcity, relative scarcity, consideration in making choices and decisions, and reality of sources and wealth distribution. We agreed that the Islamic perspective on this issue can be differentiated from conventional point of view by looking at the definition of scarcity and the way wealth being distributed. Lastly, this topic is worth to be reviewed as there are many people who yet to know the actual meaning of it. So, I think that's all from us. Thank you for listening.